Then she runs and comes to Simon Peter and to the other disciple, whom Jesus loved. Okay, wait a minute. That other disciple whom Jesus loved. Now, we know that's John, right? Well, something interesting, if you didn't know this before, which you probably have known this before if you've been around, because I know I've talked about it for a few times, but let's go over it again. This other disciple. What does this mean, other disciple? So there's one disciple here, his name is Simon Peter, and there's another disciple. Well, this other disciple actually means the same word as another that is used in John chapter 14, verse 16. Allos, another disciple. Now, I put this up online just the other day, and there were some comments that came in that made me think, like, okay, that seems logical. Like, John here is using the word allos, but he's referring to the fact that he's not the same as Peter. He's another compared to Peter. And I thought, that's actually not what's being done. So I would like to challenge anyone who studies this further for themselves. It's another disciple, not another Peter. And so you're wondering, like, well, okay, well, what does that mean? Well, Peter can't, like, duplicate himself as another Peter. So what you have is another disciple. Jesus says, I will come to you as another comforter. The comforter is what is another. Now, here's the thing. When you study the word comfort in the Bible, so I'm going to show it to you actually so that you can see what I mean. If you study the word comfort and then you put an asterisk behind it, you will come up with 119 different references to show you the word comfort, or as we scroll through, comforted, comfort, comforted, etc. Comforter, you're going to read about it that. I don't know if it's comforters, plural, but you can see comfortable and comfortably. You'll see there's a lot of ways you can understand that word. And what's fascinating is when you look at the idea of comfort in the Bible, you will see that God uses agents, whether they be humans or even themselves or food, different things like a situation, to bring comfort. And that really opens the door to the same thinking that we've had for a long time together. God uses others. Now, what is Christ going to do when he comes as a comforter? Is he going to send himself as a disembodied ghost to come down? We've tried to understand that is not the case, because something which is a spirit disembodied would be dead according to the Bible. That is the recipe for death when you look at James chapter 2, verse 26. The body without the spirit is dead. Now, you never have anywhere in the Bible the body apart from the spirit, especially when it's God, is still alive and floats around by itself. You don't have that in the Bible. I can't find it, and I don't think you could show it to me. So what do you have? You have another disciple. Okay, the disciple is the another. And John is speaking of himself as that disciple. Now, Jesus is speaking as himself, of himself, in the third person, the grammatical third person, as another comforter. But how does he do that? Well, when you look at the context of John chapter 14, as I have done in John chapter 14, verse by verse, I don't remember the title, I think that might be it. You will see that there are three mentioned in almost every single verse of John. There is the Father mentioned, there is the Son, and one of his agents. Many times it's one of the disciples, sometimes it's the Spirit, which would be in one of the agents, as it says in John chapter 14, verse 23, when Jesus answered saying, "If you love me and my words abide in you, you will be the one that my Father and I will make our abode in." So the words and our love and submission to the Father are what brings his Spirit within us, right? It's not that the Spirit floats around by itself. So this another disciple and another comforter is really what the focus is. Not another Peter. It's not another Simon Peter. It's another one of what Simon Peter is. Jesus is a comforter. And Christ is going to send another, which is a comforter. Sometimes the angels, like for example, when Jesus was in the wilderness of temptation or in the Garden of Gethsemane. What did God send to him, his own son, to comfort and to strengthen? It was an angel. Why didn't he send the Holy Spirit? Well, he did send the Holy Spirit. How did he send the Holy Spirit? In an angel. So yes, God sent the Spirit to his Son, but it was through an agent. And the same way you're going to be comforted or strengthened is the same way that the Son of God was strengthened and comforted. It's through his Spirit, which is in one of the agents. And when you understand that, and it starts to come clear in your mind, which for me it's taken so long, because I have had a false understanding of God and his Spirit for so long that trying to come away from that has been a difficult journey, but it is refreshing, it is true, it is clear in the Bible. And so now I am one of the agents that God can use to comfort others. I am the comforter that God can use. Now you might think that sounds blasphemous, but Jesus, for example, in Matthew chapter 5 said, "You are the light of the world." You're like, wait a minute, Jesus, what did you just say? You're the light of the world. He's like, exactly. And me in you becomes the light of the world. And so me in you becomes the comforter. And so you are the comforter. You are the one that God will use to comfort. Now, will it be you that comforts? Yes, but no. You need to co-work together with the Lord, and then it's yes. But if it's just you, you're going to bring the wrong kind of comfort. You're not on God's team. You need to be connected with his Spirit, which is through his word. Then you are the comforter that God has sent or will send, whether it be an angel, whether it be nature, and of course that has to be involved with his Spirit, which is through his agents as well, which I believe are the angels teaching us. But it's like all of it is God using something else. And God does not use his Spirit disembodied by itself.